One of the key topics of cybersecurity is perimeter. So they say like protect your perimeter at all costs. But the definition of perimeter is probably a task and an exercise by itself, because when you think about it, it depends on the particular environment which you are in charge of. So if it's on premises, definitely you have more hardware, you have more physical interfaces, you have more access controls, like physical access controls, for example, like cards or biometrics when you open some security doors, etc. When you are in the cloud, there is a different set of controls which you should apply, thinking about protecting your perimeter. First of all, we need to define what environment we are working on. Next, think about the purpose. The purpose of protecting a perimeter in cybersecurity is in saving your systems and your data from intrusion, exfiltration, misuse, malicious attacks, etc. Why it's important to protect internal systems? An intruder might get into your network, might leave a backdoor and use your CPU power to mine cryptocurrency or send spam attacks or participate in DDoS attacks, and it's all gonna be happening from your IP address. You don't want it, definitely. The next purpose of protecting the perimeter, and probably the most important one, is protecting your data. Protecting the data for some companies, for government structures, should be on the first place. Now, when we defined our goal, let's think about what pieces of infrastructure are actually the part of the perimeter. Several years ago, I would tell you that systems which are connected to the outer world, like APIs, public-facing interfaces, physical perimeter, is the part of your organizational perimeter. Previously, it was common to have trusted and untrusted pieces of your infrastructure. Trusted network is your internal network where your systems reside, where your data is flowing from one pipeline to another, and everything external like internet, public-facing interfaces is considered untrusted parts of the perimeter. So today, in the modern world, when we think about zero trust approach, we have to consider each piece of your environment as its own perimeter, because you want to put a defense in depth. You want to apply onion-based or like layer-based security on your infrastructure. So you want to think about not just protecting specific pieces of your systems or of your environments, but you want to think about protecting also the logging information, because somebody who can have access to your logs can tamper them, can change them, so you will never know who actually performed such malicious actions. And after that, this bad actor can get access to your data and you will never know about it. But if you want to think about a list of items which could be described as a perimeter in a traditional fashion, think about web interfaces, as I mentioned. Think about public APIs, regardless if they are password protected or they have any other sort of protection, they still are considered a part of perimeter. Think about bastion hosts, because a person from the outside world gets access to a bastion host. This person usually works from the internet. Regardless if it's a VPN or not, the person is still coming from the public internet. You can think about VPN tunnels itself. So you want to protect VPN tunnels also, for example, by implementing two-factor authentication. You also want to think about firewalls, host-based, network-based, application firewalls, because you definitely want to control the traffic. You want to control the traffic flow which comes from out to the internet. it's important not to just filter the incoming traffic to prevent things like SQL injection or any other sort of attack, but you also want to prevent data exfiltration, maybe by some internal party. So you want to have data protected at each stage of the data flow pipeline. By protecting the data, I mean it should be encrypted, the encryption keys should be rotated, access to the encryption keys should be separate from other access, and other controls can be implemented to protect the data flow. And absolutely obviously you want to subdivide your environment into different networks. For example, you want to have like a more public network where, for example, your guests or visitors can come and connect to a Wi-Fi, and you want to think about more internal private network, which is for your particular systems and your other infrastructure. You can subdivide the internal network even more by adding segments. You can create a VLAN per application. So this allows you to implement granular controls on your perimeter. These were the basics of protecting perimeter in cybersecurity.